What if some US states decided to break away and join Canada? Sounds crazy, right? But it's not as far-fetched as you might think. Okay, maybe it's a little far-fetched, but stick with me here. In this video, we're diving into a hypothetical and probably unrealistic scenario. What if some US states decided they'd be better off as part of Canada? We'll explore 10 states that, for various reasons, might just have a case for joining the Great White North. Get ready for some thought-provoking fun as we count down the top 10 US states that might trade in their stars and stripes for a maple leaf. Alright, let's kick things off with Maine, the state that's practically already an honorary Canadian province. I mean, have you ever been to Maine? It's like stepping into a different world, a world of lobster rolls, lighthouses, and a certain je ne sais quoi that just screams Canada. Maine and Canada share a deep and intertwined history. Back in the day, Maine was part of the Massachusetts Bay Colony. Meanwhile, Canada was under British rule. Naturally, they found themselves on the same side of a few disagreements, and let's just say they bonded over it. Then there's the whole Aroostook War thing. Don't worry, it wasn't as dramatic as it sounds. Maine and New Brunswick got into a little tiff over their shared border. They both claimed a chunk of land, things got tense, but cooler heads prevailed, no shots were fired, and they settled the dispute peacefully. Maine and Canada go way back, and not always in a peaceful way. But hey, they say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? And today, Maine and Canada are closer than ever. They share a border, a love of hockey, go Bruins, and a whole lot of cultural similarities. Next up, we've got New Hampshire, a state that might be tempted to join Canada for a very practical reason: money and healthcare. Okay, 2 reasons. Now, I know what you're thinking. New Hampshire is famous for its live free or die motto. They're all about independence and self-reliance. But even the most independent spirit can appreciate a good deal, right? And when it comes to things like healthcare and social services, Canada's got the US beat. I mean, imagine a world where you don't have to worry about going bankrupt because you broke your leg. That's the reality for our friends up north, and it's something that might just tempt those fiscally conservative New Hampshireites. Plus, let's not forget that Canada has a pretty sweet economy. They've got universal healthcare, free education, and a higher minimum wage than most US states. And let's be real, who wouldn't want to live in a country where maple syrup is practically a national treasure? I'm just saying, New Hampshire, it might be worth considering. Let's talk about Vermont, the state that's so close to Canada you can practically see it from your backyard. I mean, seriously, look at a map. Vermont is practically cuddling with Quebec. And it's not just proximity that makes Vermont a prime candidate for Canadian citizenship. Vermont and Canada share a similar vibe, you know? They're both known for their stunning natural beauty, their laid-back atmosphere, and their love of all things outdoorsy. Plus, let's not forget that Vermont was actually an independent republic for a hot minute before it joined the US. That's right, folks, Vermont has a history of doing its own thing, of forging its own path. So, maybe it's not so far-fetched to imagine Vermont deciding to go its own way once again, this time joining forces with its northern neighbor. And hey, if they ever decide to make maple syrup their official currency, I'm pretty sure the rest of us will be lining up to join them. Next up, New York. Okay, I know what you're thinking. New York City, the heart of the United States, joining Canada? Never gonna happen. But hear me out. New York has always been a melting pot of cultures and ideas, a place where people from all walks of life come together. And in recent years, New York has become increasingly aligned with Canadian values, particularly when it comes to things like social justice, environmental protection, and acceptance of diversity. Plus, let's not forget that New York has a long and storied history with Canada. I mean, the whole Revolutionary War thing started with a bunch of British soldiers marching down from Canada to try and steal some gunpowder from the colonists. And sure, things didn't exactly end well for the British. Sorry, Canada. But the point is, New York and Canada have been through a lot together. So maybe, just maybe, under the right circumstances, New Yorkers might be persuaded to trade in their Statue of Liberty for a giant moose statue. Okay, probably not, but hey, stranger things have happened, right? Next up on our list we have Michigan, the state that's practically surrounded by the Great Lakes, and Canada. I mean, seriously, Michigan has more coastline than any other state except Alaska, and a good chunk of that coastline is shared with Canada. Now, Michigan is known for its automotive industry, its love of Motown music, and its sometimes brutal winters. But what if I told you that Michigan could have all that and universal healthcare too? Because let's be real, folks, the US healthcare system is a bit of a mess, and Canada's system, while not perfect, is definitely a step up. So if Michigan is looking for a way to improve the lives of its citizens, joining Canada might not be such a bad idea. Plus, just imagine the epic hockey rivalry between Michigan and Ontario. It would be like the Red Wings versus the Maple Leafs on steroids. Now let's talk about Minnesota, the land of 10,000 lakes. Known for its friendly people, its love of hockey, sensing a theme here, and its commitment to environmental protection, Minnesota might just be the most Canadian state that's not actually in Canada. Seriously, Minnesotans are passionate about protecting their natural resources. They understand that clean air, clean water, and a healthy environment are essential for a high quality of life. And guess what? Canada gets it too. In fact, Canada has some of the most progressive environmental policies in the world. They're committed to reducing greenhouse gas emissions, protecting biodiversity, and promoting sustainable development. So if Minnesota is looking for a partner in crime to tackle the climate crisis, Canada might just be the perfect match. Plus, they could finally settle the age-old debate of who makes the best wild rice soup. Next up, it's Washington State, home to grunge music, Starbucks coffee, and a whole lot of tech innovation. But what if Washington decided to trade in its tech bro image for something a little more Canadian? I'm talking about education, folks. Canada is known for its excellent public education system, which consistently ranks among the best in the world. And Washington, with its emphasis on innovation and progress, might just be tempted to join the ranks of the education elite. Plus, let's not forget that Washington is already home to a large and thriving Canadian expat community. So, they'd have plenty of people to show them the ropes of Canadian life, like how to make poutine, how to cheer for the Canucks, sorry Seattle Kraken fans, and how to survive a winter that lasts for 6 months. Next is Alaska, the last frontier, or the first to secede. Alright, Alaska, the last frontier, a land of rugged individualism, breathtaking beauty, and a certain distance from the rest of the U.S. Now, Alaska has always been a bit of an outlier, both geographically and culturally. And there have been whispers, rumors, murmurs, okay, maybe just a few tweets, about Alaska, potentially seceding from the US. But what if, instead of going it alone, Alaska decided to team up with Canada? I mean, they're practically neighbors already, and they share a lot of similarities like a love of the great outdoors, a tolerance for cold weather, and a healthy appreciation for moose. Plus, let's be real, Alaska joining Canada would make things a lot easier for mapmakers. No more awkwardly trying to squeeze Alaska into that little box in the corner. Now let's talk about North Dakota, the state that's so nice they named it twice. Okay, not really, but North Dakota is known for its friendly people, its vast open spaces, and its lack of a lot of things. But what if North Dakota decided to embrace its inner Canadian and join the Great White North? I mean, they've already got the International Peace Garden, a symbol of friendship and cooperation between the US and Canada. Why not take it one step further and become actual neighbors? Plus, let's be real, North Dakota could use a little excitement in its life. And what could be more exciting than joining a new country? They could finally get some good health care, learn how to play hockey, it's never too late, and maybe even convince Drake to move to Fargo. Okay, that last one might be a stretch, but hey, a Canadian can dream, right? Last but not least, we have Montana, the Big Sky country. Known for its stunning mountain ranges, its vast ranches, and its independent spirit, Montana might seem like an unlikely candidate to join Canada. But what if I told you that Montana and Canada share a deep connection, a connection that goes beyond geography? I'm talking about values, folks. Montanans, like Canadians, value things like community, self-reliance, and a deep respect for nature. They're not afraid of hard work, they appreciate the simple things in life, and they're always up for an adventure. And let's be real, who wouldn't want to live in a country where you can see the northern lights dancing across the sky on a clear night? Plus, Montana joining Canada would mean that the Canadian tuxedo, denim on denim, for the uninitiated, would finally be considered high fashion. Well, there you have it, folks, 10 US states that might just have what it takes to become card-carrying Canadians. From historical ties and geographical proximity to shared values and a love of hockey, okay, maybe that one's a bit of a stereotype. These states have shown us that the line between the US and Canada might not be as solid as we think. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more intriguing content. And let us know in the comments which state you think should join Canada. Stay tuned for our next video where we explore the most surprising facts about Canada.